My name is Irene Wu, and I'm 32 years old. 5 years ago, my sister told my parents I had dropped out of medical school. She lied. And that single lie didn't just hurt me, it erased me. My parents cut me off like I had never existed. They blocked my number. They stopped answering my emails. They skipped my residency graduation like it was just another ordinary day. They weren't at my wedding. They never met the man I married. For 5 years, I wasn't their daughter. I was a ghost in my own family. Then last month, everything changed. My sister Monica was rushed into the emergency room, bleeding, unconscious, dying. The trauma team was activated, and they paged the chief surgeon. The doors to the trauma bay burst open. And when my mother looked up and saw the name stitched onto the white coat of the surgeon walking toward her daughter's stretcher, she froze. Then she grabbed my father's arm so hard her fingers left bruises. Because the name on that coat was mine. But before I take you there, before we step into that hospital room, you need to understand how we got here. And trust me, it didn't start with one lie. So before we go deeper, take a second, like the video, subscribe if you're into stories like this, and drop your location and local time in the comments. I always read them, and I want to know who's here with me right now. Okay. Let me take you back. Fall, 2019. A kitchen table in Hartford, Connecticut. And the last time my father ever looked at me with something that resembled pride. Growing up, there were 2 daughters in the Wulett house. But only one of us really existed. My sister Monica is 3 years older than me, and from the moment she could walk, she knew how to command a room, school plays, student council, talent shows. She didn't just participate, she dominated. She was the kind of person who could sit down at a dinner table full of strangers and, within 10 minutes, have everyone laughing like they'd known her for years. People loved her. And my parents? They didn't just love her, they built their entire world around her. My father, Jerry Wulett, managed a manufacturing plant, steady, disciplined, the kind of man who believed life had rules, and those rules should never be questioned. My mother, Diane, worked part-time as a bookkeeper, quiet, agreeable, always smoothing things over before they could turn into conflict. We weren't rich, we weren't struggling. We were ordinary. But in our house, 2 things mattered more than anything else: appearances and obedience. Monica mastered both. She smiled when she was supposed to smile. She spoke when it benefited her. She knew exactly how to be the perfect daughter in public, and just convincing enough in private. And me? I was the background noise. The quiet one. The one who sat at the edge of the table during Thanksgiving dinners with a biology textbook open in her lap, pretending to study while Monica told stories and everyone leaned in to listen. I wasn't difficult. I wasn't rebellious. I wasn't even a problem. I was just invisible. And there's a difference, a very real difference, between being forgotten and never being seen in the first place. Let me give you an example. 8th grade. I made it to the state science fair, the only student from my entire school to qualify. I had spent months on that project. Late nights, early mornings, weekends locked in my room running tests, rewriting notes, trying to get everything perfect. That same weekend, Monica had a community theater performance. One guess where my parents went. When I came home with a second-place ribbon, second in the entire state, I stood in the kitchen holding it, waiting. Waiting for something. Recognition, pride, a question, anything. My dad glanced at it for maybe half a second and said, "That's nice, Irene." That's it. He didn't ask what my project was about. He didn't ask how the competition went. He didn't even look at me long enough to see what that moment meant. And the worst part? He didn't think he'd done anything wrong. So I adapted. I told myself it didn't hurt. I told myself I didn't need their attention. I buried everything in work, grades, AP classes, applications. I built my entire identity around one idea. If I couldn't be the daughter they loved, I would become the daughter they couldn't ignore. And for a while, it worked. Or at least, I thought it did. The acceptance letter came on a Tuesday in April. Oregon Health Science University. One of the best medical programs in the country. 3,000 miles away from Hartford. I remember standing in the kitchen holding that letter, my hands shaking so badly I could barely open it. Monica was home that weekend, sitting at the table scrolling through her phone like nothing important was happening. I handed the letter to my dad. He read it once. Then again. Slowly this time. Oregon Health Science, he said, like he was testing the words in his mouth. That's a real medical school. Then he looked at me. Not past me. Not through me. At me. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I existed in his world. Maybe you'll make something of yourself after all. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't warm. But it was the closest thing to approval I had ever gotten. And I held onto it like it was oxygen. That night, my mom called everyone. Her sister, my aunt, 2 neighbors, anyone who would listen. Irene got into medical school, she said, her voice carrying a note I had never heard before. Pride. Real, undeniable pride. Directed at me. At dinner, I looked across the table at Monica. She was smiling. But it wasn't reaching her eyes. At the time, I didn't understand it. I thought she was just tired. Maybe a little jealous. Normal sister stuff. I didn't see what was actually happening. Because in that moment, something shifted. The spotlight moved. And for the first time in our lives, it wasn't on her. And Monica? Monica doesn't lose the spotlight. She doesn't share it. She doesn't step back and clap for someone else. She studies the stage, finds the weak point, and takes it back. And what she did next wasn't just a lie. It was a strategy. A slow, deliberate, calculated move that would cost me 5 years of my life. My family. My identity. Everything. But I didn't see it coming. Not even a little. A television in the corner murmured weather reports to no one in particular, soft, forgettable words about clouds and temperatures that didn't matter. Nothing in that room mattered except the 2 people sitting in the center row. Rigid, sleepless, terrified. My parents. 5 years older than the last time I had seen them, though they probably didn't realize it yet. Grief does that. It ages you in quiet, uneven ways. I pushed through the double doors. The hinges gave that familiar hospital groan, the sound I'd heard 1,000 times before, but this time, it felt louder, heavier, final. I was still in my surgical scrubs, mask pulled down around my neck, scrub cap off, my hair pulled tightly back, my hands were clean, but the faint smell of antiseptic still clung to my skin. And on my chest, hanging where anyone could see it, was the badge. Clean, white, unmistakable. Dr. Irene Wu, M.D., Fax. Chief of Trauma Surgery. 6 feet away. It was readable. 10 feet away. Undeniable. Dad stood first. He always stood first. It was instinct, control, authority, the need to be the one asking the questions instead of answering them. Doctor, how is she? Is Monica? The words died in his throat. Mid-sentence. Like someone had reached inside him and pulled the air out. His eyes dropped to my badge. Then up to my face. Then back to the badge again. I didn't move. I watched it happen. Recognition isn't always instant. Sometimes it crawls, slow and painful, through memory, through denial, through everything a person thought they knew. It started in his hands. A small tremor. Then climbed his arms, tightened his shoulders, locked his jaw. By the time it reached his eyes, he knew. Mom looked up half a second later. That's all it took. Half a second to follow his gaze. Half a second to see what he saw. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Her hand shot out, fast, desperate, and grabbed Dad's forearm. Her fingers dug into the flannel of his sleeve with a force that would later leave bruises shaped like fingerprints. Like she needed something solid to hold onto. Like the ground had just disappeared beneath her. 5 seconds passed. No one spoke. 5 seconds that stretched long enough to hold 5 years inside them. 5 years of silence. 5 years of absence. 5 years of being erased. So I spoke. Calm, controlled, clinical. The same voice I used with every family in that room. Mr. and Mrs. Hewlett, I'm Drive Hewlett, Chief of Trauma Surgery. Your daughter, Monica, sustained a ruptured spleen and a grade 3 liver laceration in the accident. Surgery was successful. She's stable and currently in the ICU. You'll be able to see her in approximately 1 hour. I didn't rush it. Didn't soften it. Didn't change a single word. Mr. and Mrs. Not Mom. Not Dad. I saw it hit them. Not like a blow. Like a blade. Clean, precise, quiet. Behind me, through the glass partition, Linda and 2 nurses had gone completely still. They knew. Not the whole story, but enough. People who work in trauma learn to read a room fast. And this? This wasn't just another case. My mother moved first. She always followed emotion before logic. She took a step toward me, arms already lifting, a sob breaking through her chest before she could stop it. Irene, oh my God, Irene. I stepped back. Just half a step. Not dramatic. Not aggressive. But unmistakable. She froze. Completely. Her arms stayed suspended in the space between us, like she didn't know what to do with them anymore. Then slowly, so slowly it almost hurt to watch, they dropped back to her sides. Dad found his voice. It came out rough, dragged, like it had to fight its way through something thick and heavy. You're a doctor. I am. You're the chief. I am. Each answer landed like a confirmation he didn't want. But Monica said, what exactly? I didn't raise my voice. Didn't push. Just asked. And that was enough. He tried to speak. Opened his mouth. Closed it. Tried again. Nothing came out. Because whatever version of reality he had built over the last 5 years, it was collapsing. Right in front of him. Mom broke instead. Not cleanly. Not quietly. We thought you dropped out, she cried. We thought you were. She told you I dropped out. I said, that I had a boyfriend with a drug problem, that I was homeless, that I refused to contact you. My voice didn't shake. Not once. I rehearsed this moment 1,000 times, in the shower, in the car, in the dark before sleep. I never thought it would happen here, in scrubs, under fluorescent lights. I held her gaze. None of it was true, not a single word. Behind me, I saw movement. Carla pressing her hand to her mouth. Dr. Kimura looking away, jaw tight. Linda setting down her clipboard like she had forgotten what she was doing. Dad tried to regain control. He always did. This isn't the time or place. Irene, your sister is in the ICU. I know, I said. And this time, there was something sharper underneath the calm. I just spent 3 hours and 40 minutes making sure she survives. So yes, Dad, I'm aware of where she is. That was it. That was the moment. For the first time in my entire life, my father had nothing to say. No correction. No authority. No version of events to enforce. Just silence. And the silence did what I never could. 5 years of calls. Emails. Letters. Begging. Explaining. None of it had mattered. But this? This, standing in front of them, alive, successful, undeniable. This broke through. 4 hours later, I walked into ICU, room 6. The world had shifted again. Quieter now. Machines beeping in steady rhythm, morning light cutting through the blinds in thin, pale lines. I moved through the routine automatically. Vitals. Drainage. Wound check. Clinical, precise. Detached. Except nothing about this was routine. Monica's eyes were open. Not fully aware, but aware enough. She blinked at the ceiling. At the IV. Then slowly, she turned her head. And saw me. She squinted. Read my badge. Read it again. And I watched the moment everything she believed, everything she built, started to crack. Color drained from her face. Irene? Good morning, Monica, I said evenly. I'm your attending surgeon. You sustained a ruptured spleen and a grade 3 liver laceration. Surgery went well. You're going to make a full recovery. You're a doctor. Not confusion. Not surprise. Recognition. I'm the chief of this department. I have been for 2 years. I watched it unfold in real time. Confusion. Disbelief. Fear. And then, calculation. Even now. Even here. With my work holding her together. She was trying to figure out how to twist it. Irene, listen, I can explain. You don't need to explain anything to me. I nodded toward the glass door, where 2 broken people stood watching. You need to explain it to them. And then I left. Sunday morning. First week of February. Light snow falling outside the kitchen window, the kind that doesn't stick, but makes everything look softer than it really is. Forgiven, almost. I stood at the stove, flipping French toast. Nathan was grinding coffee beans, singing off key like he always does. Hippo sat under the table, hopeful, patient, waiting for something to fall. The doorbell rang. Simple. Ordinary. But I knew. I opened the door. And there they were. My parents. Standing on my porch. Dad held a bottle of orange juice like it didn't belong in his hands. Mom held a tin of cookies, shortbread. The same ones she used to make for every one of Monica's events. Never mine. Hi, she said. Small. Careful. Hopeful. Come in, I replied. Coffee's almost ready. Dad stepped inside slowly. Looked around like he was seeing something impossible. This house. This life. Everything he had missed. Can I help with anything? He asked. And there it was. Not authority. Not instruction. A question. I looked at him for a moment. Then said quietly. You can set the table, Dad. He nodded. Opened the cabinet. Took out plates. Counted them. Paused. 4? 4. He placed them down one by one. Carefully. Like they mattered. Mom stepped behind me at the stove. Wrapped her arms around me. Not tight. Not dramatic. Just there. Her forehead resting lightly against my shoulder. No words. And for the first time in 5 years, I didn't step away. Snow fell outside. The pan sizzled. The house felt full. Not perfect. Not fixed. But real. My name is Dr. Irene Wu. I'm 32 years old. And for the first time in a long time, I am learning how to be someone's daughter again. 4 plates on the table. It's a start.